The Grand Hall of Unity was full. Lights glowed above, and alien voices echoed in the large room. On one side stood the human delegation, nervous, hopeful, and silent. On the other side, tall and proud, stood the Shirari diplomats, their blue skin glowing under their silver robes. In the center of them all was Tareen Vesh, the lead Shirari diplomat. She didn't smile, she didn't bow. She only stared. "Humans," she said loudly, her voice cold and sharp, "are a weak species. They are not ready for intergalactic power. They are emotional, messy, and loud." The crowd fell silent. Cameras from all over the galaxy recorded her words. The human ambassador, an old man named Gregson, tried to speak. "With respect, Ambassador Vesh, humanity has grown," but she raised her hand to stop him. "Respect," she said. "You ask for respect when your kind cannot even control your own planet? Wars, pollution, greed. Why should the Shirari Empire share technology with you?" The human side of the room went quiet. Anger grew in their eyes, but no one said a word. They couldn't. Tareen Vesh had power. Her voice could shape galactic law. Behind the crowd near the exit stood Jack Rourke, a young human from the Earth. Diplomatic Corps. He was not an ambassador, he had no rank. He was just an observer, but his eyes were sharp, and his mind sharper. He watched Tareen speak. He saw the way she smirked as she insulted his people. She was tall, graceful, and sure of herself. She believed she was untouchable. Jack whispered to himself, "Arrogant, too arrogant." The meeting ended badly. The Shirari refused the trade deal. Tareen walked out first, her robes flowing behind her. Humans were left standing in silence. Jack stayed behind, leaning against the wall, thinking. That night, back in the station lounge, many humans drank quietly. Some were angry, some were sad. Jack sat alone in a corner, replaying her words in his mind. A voice came from behind. "You look like someone with a plan." Jack turned. It was Dr. Mara Jensen, a human linguist. She had noticed him watching the alien diplomat. "Maybe I do," Jack said softly. Mara sat beside him. "You saw the way she looked at us like we're insects. You're thinking of doing something, aren't you?" Jack didn't answer at first. Then he said, "She thinks humans are beneath her. That's her weakness. She won't see it coming." Mara's eyes widened. "See what coming?" He leaned closer and whispered, "I'm going to get close to her. Make her trust me. Make her think she's in control. And then—" "That's dangerous," Mara said. "I know," Jack replied. "But it's not for me, it's for Earth." The next day, Jack made his move. He waited outside the Shirari diplomatic office with a small gift in hand, a rare flower that grew only on Earth. He had done his research. Shirari culture valued rare living things. Tyryn walked by, her guards at her side. She paused when she saw him. "What is this?" she asked, looking at the flower. "A gift," Jack said calmly. "From one species to another." She tilted her head, curious. "You're not an ambassador." "No," he said. "I'm a nobody." She laughed, a sharp sound. "At least you know your place," Jack smiled. "Even nobodies can surprise people." She took the flower. "Perhaps. But don't expect too much. I don't talk to insects." And then she walked away, but Jack didn't mind. He had planted the first seed. Over the next few days, Jack found ways to be near her. He learned the Shirari language better. He asked questions, showed respect, even joked sometimes. Taryn started noticing him. Not as a threat, but as a curious little human who didn't know when to quit. She allowed him to speak, then to walk with her, then to join her for drinks. She thought she was in control. She thought he was just another admirer, but Jack was watching every word, every weakness. Inside, he wasn't falling for her. He was preparing for a move no human had ever dared before, and she would never see it coming. The lights were low. The air smelled like stars and smoke. Jack Rourke stood on the balcony of the Unity Station's upper deck, staring out into the endless dark. Behind him, aliens danced, laughed, and drank at the evening gala. But Jack didn't care. He had only one target. Taryn Vesh. She stood in the center of the room like a queen among insects. Her silver gown shimmered, her long arms rested behind her back, and her golden eyes scanned the room with boredom. She hated humans. Everyone knew that. She had insulted Earth before the whole galaxy. Jack should have walked away. He was just a minor staff member. He had no power, no rank, but he had something more dangerous. A plan. Earlier that day, Jack had gone to the Black Market tech dealer on Deck 9. The dealer was a four-eyed creature named Nog who sold illegal custom drinks. Drinks that could be made to taste exactly the way a specific alien species liked it. I need one made for a Shirari female. Jack. So'd. Nog blinked. Poison? No, Jack said. Better, make her want to talk. Make her curious. Nog grinned. You humans, so dramatic. Back at the party, Jack carried 2 glasses of glowing blue liquid on a silver tray. He walked slowly through the crowd. He wasn't a servant, but tonight, he played the part. He reached her. She didn't look at him. Not yet. Jack stopped a few feet away. Forgive me, Ambassador. I brought you something unusual. She turned slightly. Her gaze fell on the drink. What is it? A Terran mix, he said. Modified for Shirari biology. Just a gesture. She narrowed her eyes. Humans are full of gestures. Jack smiled softly. Only the clever ones. For a moment, she studied his face. Then, to everyone's surprise, she took the glass. Her fingers touched his. Cold skin, smooth like metal. She sipped. Her face didn't change, but her eyes lingered on Jack for a second longer than before. I've tasted worse, she said. Then I'll call it a win, Jack replied. She looked away, but didn't walk off. The next day, word spread. The Shirari diplomat accepted a drink from a human. She spoke to him for more than 10 seconds. Did she smile? Jack kept quiet. Let the rumors work for him. Let her curiosity grow. He was no threat, no official. Just someone who made her wonder. That was enough. Over. The next week, Jack kept bumping into her, not by accident. Never by accident. He learned where she walked in the mornings. He joined Shirari art talks, learned her culture's favorite colors, listened to their songs. He found out she liked order, silence, and sharp logic. So Jack became quiet, patient, respectful, but never weak. Taryn began to speak to him without the guards listening. You are different from the others, she said once. Maybe you don't know all of us yet, Jack replied. Another day, she asked. What do humans do when they are insulted by someone stronger? Jack stared at her, dead serious. We wait, we listen. Then we do what no one expects. She didn't reply. But that night, she messaged him for the first time. Just one word. Drink? Jack kept notes. Every conversation, every reaction. This wasn't a romance. This was a mission. She thought she had him wrapped around her finger. But the truth? Jack was wrapping the net around her. She had no idea. One evening, they met on her ship, alone. She showed him strange music, played a Shirari song that only high-born families knew. It was a sign of trust. Jack leaned in, quiet and calm. Why me? He asked. Tary and looked away. You make me forget you're human. For a few moments, Jack smiled on the outside. But inside he laughed. That's what I wanted, Taryn. Forget who I am, so you don't see what's coming next. And then it happened. One night, the music was soft, the lights dim. Her voice was low. His hand touched hers. She didn't pull away. In that moment, the arrogant alien diplomat who once insulted all of Earth fell into a trap. A beautiful, perfect trap. And Jack, he never blinked. She woke up in the wrong bed. Not just the wrong bed, a human bed. Taran Vesh sat up fast, her breath sharp, her heart racing. The room was dim and warm. It smelled like metal and something sweet. A soft human blanket slid off her shoulder. She looked down. She was still wearing her formal robes, but her boots were gone. And beside her, he was there. Jack Rourke, still asleep, calm, his chest slowly rising under a thin gray shirt. She stared at him. What had she done? What had he done? Her hands clenched, her jaw tightened. Taran Vesh, highest voice of the Shirari Empire, daughter of House Velkar, just spent the night with a human. Unacceptable. She swung her legs off the bed and stood up slowly. She moved across the room like a shadow, looking for her boots. She found them by the door, cleaned, polished. He had cleaned them. She blinked. That confused her more than anything. Behind her, Jack stretched, still half asleep. You're up early. She turned quickly. What did you give me last night? His eyes opened fully. Just wine, and a little truth. Liar. Her voice shook. You tricked me. I should report this to the High Council. You know who I am. Jack sat up slowly. Yes, and you know who I am now too. Taran stared at him. She didn't know what scared her more, the fact she had spent the night here, or the fact that a part of her didn't want to leave. She picked up her communicator. This never happened. Jack stood up and walked toward her. It did. She held up a hand, not another word. Her eyes flashed with warning. If you speak of this just once, I will make sure Earth loses every deal in the Council for the next decade. Jack stopped. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. Taran turned to go, then paused. Was this your plan, to get close to me? Humiliate me? Jack didn't answer right away. Then he said softly, no, this wasn't part of the plan. She left without looking back, but her heart was pounding. Because something inside her knew, part of her wanted it to be real, thought the next few days were quiet. Taran didn't leave her ship. She canceled meetings. Her assistant handled all communication. The galaxy whispered rumors. But Taran had other things on her mind. She felt strange. Her skin was warmer. Her emotions, usually calm and cold, felt sharp and wild. And food tasted wrong. Then came the headache, and the nausea, and the missed cycle. She tried to ignore it. She told herself it was stress. She blamed Earth's strange gravity. She blamed Jack, but deep down, she feared the truth. She visited the medical wing in secret. No one saw her. No one must ever know. The scanner hummed as she lay still. She felt cold and exposed. Then the doctor, a Shirari elder, stepped forward. He looked nervous. That worried her even more. He bowed slightly. Ambassador. You are with child. Taran didn't speak. She just stared at the screen. The pulse of a tiny heart flickered there, fast, steady, and strong. Who is the father? The doctor asked. Taran's voice cracked like ice. A human. The doctor's eyes widened. Then, it is a hybrid. She stood up. Delete all records. Tell no one. But Ambassador, the child is delete everything. The doctor hesitated, then obeyed. Back on her ship, Taran sat alone in her dark chamber. Her hand slowly touched her stomach. This wasn't part of her plan either. She had power, control, pride, but now her body was no longer her own. Her legacy, her future, it was tied to him. To a human. She looked in the mirror and whispered, "This is war." Far below, Jack Rourke stared out the window of his Earth quarters, not knowing what had happened. Not yet, but he would. Very soon. She fainted. In the middle of the council chamber. One moment, Taran Vesh was standing proud, speaking in her cold, perfect voice. The next, her body swayed, her hand trembled. Her skin lost color, then she collapsed. Gasps filled the room. A Shirari guard rushed forward. Human staff stepped back in shock. Cameras captured everything, her fall, her silence, her stillness, and In the shadows of the gallery above, Jack Rourke watched it all. His heart jumped. Not from guilt, but from something stranger. He didn't know why, but seeing her fall like that, someone so proud, so cruel, shook him more than he expected. Inside the private medbay, machines hummed. Taran lay unconscious on a silver table. A soft light glowed above her. A Shirari doctor leaned over the screen. His voice shook. She's stable, but there's something else. The assistant beside him looked closer. What is that, inside her? The doctor zoomed in on the scan. There it was, a small shape, glowing faintly, a heartbeat. 2 life signs, 1 adult, 1 unborn. Oh no, the assistant whispered. It's a child. The doctor stepped back. And it's hybrid, half human. 2 hours later, Taran opened her eyes. The doctor stood beside her, waiting. He didn't speak right away. She sat up slowly. What happened? You collapsed. And we found something. He hesitated. You are pregnant. Taran froze. Her whole body tensed. That's impossible. You know the truth, he said. And the council will know soon too. Reporters are asking questions. Her jaw locked tight. No one must know. You can't hide this for long. I said no one must know. She shouted. Her voice echoed through the chamber, then softer, almost a whisper. Not yet. Back on Earth's diplomatic floor, Jack walked through the hall as humans whispered behind him. She collapsed right there. Maybe it's Earth's gravity? Some say she's sick. No, some say she's pregnant. Jack stopped walking. His eyes narrowed. No way, right? But the timing. The signs. The way she vanished after that night. Jack single quotes as heart began to race. Had he gone too far? Meanwhile, Taran met with her most trusted aide. They spoke in code, behind locked doors. I need a transport ship, hidden ID, and a secure route to the outer colonies. Ambassador, if the child is real, and if the humans find out. They can't find out. Not yet, she snapped. The council will destroy me. My family will disown me. And if Earth uses this as leverage? They will, Taran whispered. That's what humans do. They don't forget. They wait. Then they strike. She paced the room. Her hand brushed her stomach again. The truth was growing inside her like a bomb. And Jack Rourke? The aide asked. Tarwine paused. Her face went cold. He started this, she said. He will finish it, with me. Later that night, Jack received a strange message on his private device. It was unsigned, just a location. A place near the outer hangars. A docking bay no one used anymore. He knew who it was. He almost didn't go. But something inside him needed answers. The hangar was dark and quiet. Old lights flickered above. Jack stepped inside and saw her Taran Vesh standing in the shadows, wearing a black cloak. Her eyes burned like fire. You, she said. You sent the message? I need your help, she said. Jack blinked. You need my help? I am, she hesitated. I am with child. Silence. A long silence. Jack looked at her face. Her hand resting on her stomach. Mine? She nodded. Jack exhaled. He rubbed his face, stepped back, looked at the stars above. Then he said, Now what? Taran stepped closer. You know how many enemies I have. This changes everything. My own people may try to take the child from me. Yours may try to use it against me. Jack stayed quiet. She looked into his eyes. Help me. Hide me. At least until the child is born. And why would I do that? He asked, because part of that child is you. And just like that, the strongest voice in the galaxy was no longer in control. But Jack? He finally was. The ship didn't appear on any radar, no lights, no sound, no signal. Just a silent black shadow drifting down through Earth's clouds. Inside, Taran Vesh stood at the window, staring down at the planet she once insulted. The child inside her moved slightly. She didn't flinch. This was the last place in the galaxy she ever wanted to be. But now, she had no choice. Jack Rourke stood on a quiet hill near the edge of the human settlement. It was early morning. Cold. Wind pushed through the trees. Birds sang. And above him, the clouds opened. She arrived. Her ship landed without a sound. Its hull folded inward like a blooming flower. She stepped out slowly, wrapped in a thick dark cloak. Jack saw her face, and for a second, forgot who she was. She didn't look like the proud diplomat who once called humans a mistake. She looked tired, pale, and something else. Scared. Welcome to Earth, Jack said. Tary and stepped down. You must be enjoying this. I'm not, he said honestly. But I did say you wouldn't see it coming. She smirked. Don't remind me. Jack took her to a small off-grid cabin deep in the woods. No cameras, no comm signals. Just trees, a generator, and a solar heater. This is primitive, Taran said, looking around the wooden walls. Jack shrugged. It's peaceful. She sat down slowly. Her hand moved to her stomach. The baby kicks a lot when I'm near trees. I don't know why. Jack smiled just a little. Maybe it likes nature, or maybe it's the human side. Taran rolled her eyes, but she didn't argue. The days passed slowly. Taran stayed inside. She read human books. She watched birds through the window. Jack cooked simple food: vegetables, bread, fruit. Sometimes they sat in silence. Other times they argued. You humans are emotional, she snapped once, always feeling too much. It clouds your judgment. Jack looked up from his plate. At least we feel. You looked down on us, remember? I still do. Then why are you here? She stood up, frustrated. Because you got me pregnant. Jack didn't yell. He just said, no, you let yourself get close to me. You thought you had all the power. Taran stopped. He was right, and it made her furious. One night, a storm rolled over the hills. Rain slammed the roof. The power flickered. Taran sat beside the small fireplace, watching the flames. Jack brought her a blanket. She looked at him, confused. Why are you helping me? I humiliated your entire race. Jack didn't speak for a moment. Then he said, because you're not just a diplomat now. You're a mother, and that kid inside you. It's not your revenge. It's not mine either. It's something new. She looked down at her belly, and for once, said nothing. A few days later, her mood changed. She stood outside the cabin, breathing in Earth's air. She watched a fox run between the trees. She pressed her hand against her stomach and whispered something in Shirari. Jack heard her from the porch. What did you say? He asked. She hesitated, then answered. I said, I want this child to live without shame, without war, without pride blinding them. Jack stepped closer. You're changing. Taran turned her face away. Don't think this means I like humans. Jack smiled. Wouldn't dream of it. But they both knew the truth. The longer she stayed, the more she softened. And that scared her more than anything. But far above Earth, hidden in the darkness of space, something else was watching. A Shirari scout ship. Inside, a captain sent one word back to the Empire. Found. The clock had started ticking. And the peace wouldn't last. The alien diplomat was crying. Not in public. Not on camera. Not behind a podium. She was sitting in a wooden chair in a human cabin, wearing a worn-out sweater. Jack gave her crying silently into her hands. It wasn't because of pain or fear. It was because the baby kicked. And she laughed, and she didn't know why that made her cry. Earlier that morning, Taran had walked farther than usual. The forest path behind the cabin smelled like pine. The sky was open, blue, and wide, too wide. Back home, skies were tight and silver. The stars felt closer. But here, things were slow. Earth was quiet, gentle. A human child ran by chasing. A dog, laughing. Taran froze. The sound was strange. Sharp, messy, uncontrolled joy. It made her uncomfortable. It made her curious. She sat on a bench near the road. A woman nearby smiled at her. "First time here?" Taran nodded slowly. "Expecting?" The woman asked, noticing her belly. Taryn touched her stomach. "Yes, boy or girl?" "I don't know," she said. The woman chuckled. "Well, either way, it'll change you." Taran's smile faded. She didn't want to be changed. She was already changing too fast. Back at the cabin, Jack was chopping wood. His arms were dirty, his face sweaty. Taran watched him from the porch. "You could use a drone for that," she said. "I could," Jack replied. "But this feels better. You humans and your feelings." Jack paused. "You always say that like it's a weakness." Taran looked away. "Sometimes it is." Jack stepped closer. "Sometimes it's the reason we survive." She didn't respond, but she didn't walk away either. That night she couldn't sleep. The baby kept moving. Her body felt heavy. Her thoughts even heavier. She sat on the floor, hugging a pillow. Jack found her like that. "Bad night?" She nodded. "The baby's active." Jack sat beside her on the wooden floor. Tarin leaned her head against the wall. "You ever wonder what it will look like?" Jack smiled. "Sometimes. I think it'll have your eyes. That would be unfortunate." They both laughed quietly. Then she said, softer, "I thought I would hate this, but now, I don't know." Silence. Then she whispered, "I'm afraid." Jack didn't move. "Me too." For the first time, they were the same. Not human. Not alien. Just parents. But peace never lasts long. 3 days later, Jack spotted movement in the sky, too fast to be a bird, too smooth to be a human drone. He checked the old radar scanner on the cabin wall. A small blip. Then another dot, and then nothing. Cloaked, watching, waiting. He didn't tell Taran right away. Instead, he quietly packed emergency supplies into a backpack. Fuel cells, scrambler, small sidearm. But she noticed. "You're planning something," she said. "They're coming," he replied. "I saw them." Her face went pale. "They found me." Jack nodded. "And now?" "We get ready," he sighed. "We stay smart. You're not alone in this." She looked at him long and hard. "I insulted your people," she said. "I called you weak, and now you're protecting me." "Not just you," Jack said. He placed a hand gently on her belly. "Both of you." Taran didn't pull away. She closed her eyes, whispered, "I was wrong about humans." Jack smiled. "You're allowed to change." She looked back at him and said, "Then so are you." Far above, in a hidden ship orbiting Earth, a Shirari war officer sent a message to the Empire. Subject located. Diplomat is pregnant. Human connection confirmed. Response: prepare for retrieval, with force if necessary. The countdown had begun, and the fury that once belonged to Taran now belonged to someone else. The sky over Earth cracked open. It didn't explode. It didn't scream. It just opened like a wound in space. A Shirari warship uncloaked above the clouds, massive and cold, blocking the sun. From the forest below, Jack Rourke looked up and whispered, "They're here." Inside the cabin, Taran Vesh stood perfectly still, her fingers pressed against her belly. The baby moved, as if sensing something wrong. She didn't speak. She didn't blink. Because she knew that ship. It belonged to her. Family. Her blood, her past. They had come for her. A deep voice echoed from the ship above. It filled the sky, sent birds flying from the trees. "Taran Vesh of House Velkar, you are ordered to surrender. The child will be taken into Shirari care. The human is not recognized. Comply or face removal by force." Jack stepped inside. "What do we do?" Taran was silent. Then she said something Jack never expected. "I don't want to go back." He Nodded. Then we don't run. We stand. 10 minutes later, a Shirari landing pod crashed into the field behind the cabin. The air shimmered as armored guards stepped out. Each wore black helmets and glowing armor dot at the front. A tall woman removed her helmet. High speaker, Velen Vesh, Taran's aunt. Taran, she said coldly, you've brought shame to our name. Come home before this gets worse. Taran stood. In front of the cabin, Jack at her side. I'm not going back, she said. This is my choice, my child, my life. Velen's eyes narrowed. That child is a diplomatic threat. A hybrid heir born without council approval. It belongs to the Empire. Jack stepped forward. She's not property. And neither is the baby. Velen ignored him. You've always been stubborn, Taran. But this? Falling for a human? You were supposed to be better. I thought I was, Taran said. But now, I see clearer. Velen raised her hand. The guards pointed their weapons. Jack whispered, if this is it, I'm glad I did it. Taran looked at him. No, she said. This isn't it. She stepped forward, her voice louder now. I am Taran Vesh, diplomat of the Shirari Empire. And by law, no child of a diplomat, no matter the bloodline, can be taken without consent. Velen's mouth twitched. You're alone. Who will protect you? Taran lifted her communicator. A blinking red light was active. I sent a broadcast, she said. To every council in the galaxy. To the press. To the neutral races. I told them everything. They know who you are. What you're doing. And what this child means. Velen froze. I gave them one reason to care, Taran added. Because this child is hope. Proof we can change. That humans are not beneath us. That love doesn't follow bloodlines. Velen looked up. So did Jack. Tiny blue ships began appearing in the sky. Neutral worlds. Press ships. Observers. And live feeds. Too many eyes now. Velen clenched her fist. She turned to her guards. Stand down. The guards hesitated. Then obeyed. Jack let out a slow breath. Taran stepped up to Velen. You said I brought shame. She whispered. But maybe I brought a future. Velen didn't answer. She just walked away. Back to the pod. Back to the ship. Back to a dying old world. An hour later. The skies were quiet again. Taryn sat on the cabin porch, Jack beside her. Really sent the broadcast? He asked. She nodded. You were right. Humans don't fight with fists first. They fight with truth. Jack smiled. We fight dirty too, Taran chuckled. I noticed. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Taran whispered, I still hate how messy humans are. And I still think aliens are stuck up. They looked at each other. Then they laughed. The baby kicked again. Jack looked at her and said, What do we name it? Taran smiled. Something both worlds can say.